All right. Glitter and Greed, the Lisa Frank story. One of the things I found funny, by the way, it's on Amazon Prime, is it says season one. And so, and I'll tell you what, if there's a season two, what I'm hoping that's going to look like. First, let me tell you about the documentary filming and the editing. This is kind of the highlight of this whole entire thing for me, which is the interviews are okay, but what really does it for me is that in the storytelling, it takes that Lisa Frank brand and colorfulness and cartoon of art and tells the story at times with that. And to me, that felt very nostalgic. The way that they used animation in this was really, really kind of cool to me. And it made it more enjoyable to watch because the rest of this is really a bunch of complainers. So be prepared. You have to be in the right mindset because it is literally nothing but a bunch of people bitching and moaning. So Lisa Frank is a brand that was around, and it's still around, by the way. Lisa Frank was a big brand in the 80s and the 90s. Now, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I remember Lisa Frank fondly. The only thing is I wasn't a huge Lisa Frank person. I think by the time it really became huge, I outgrew that sort of aesthetic. And so I wasn't into that. I was like listening to hip hop and rap music by that time, probably in the late 80s. So that was not my thing. So it's a brand that they took this artwork. It was very colorful. It was animals and unicorns, and they basically slapped it on anything they could. Folders, pencils, stickers, you name it. Lisa Frank was everywhere, and you knew that art. It had a very prominent, distinct style. So when you looked at something, you knew it was a Lisa Frank piece of art. Well, they call it a piece of art, but you know what I'm saying. So the employees that are complaining a lot majority of them were the artists that were doing a lot of the artwork, and they complained that Lisa Frank was very much demanding, wanted things to be perfect. They had to pump out a lot. They were working mega hours, not being paid a good wage. All of the stuff that you hear in most corporate America, I hate to say it. But I think really it was maybe the way that those things were dealt with. They had an HR person that just seemed like really like not nice. And she was doing a lot of the dirty work for Lisa Frank and now her husband. Now, rewind a little bit. Lisa Frank hires this guy. He comes to work for her as the lead artist. They become a couple. I'm not going to say fall in love because I do not think this guy loved her. I think he saw a ticket to power. But I think she loved him. She was sort of taken for a ride with this guy. But he did come in and she did value that he was this amazing artist and was able to produce a lot of the design ideas and creative aspect to the company, which we all need those things, right, when you're building a brand. So he winds up taking over power when she decides to have kids, and she's sort of at home, working from home when she can, but he's kind of running the show. She's still, majority owner of the company, but he kind of makes it his own little castle over there. And again, employees complaining about him and all the horrible things he was doing when he was at the helm. And then fast forward, they divorce. It gets ugly. He's bitter. He believes that there would be no Lisa Frank without him, yada, 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 because God forbid a woman knew what she was doing and running a company. Can't be done without a man. But anyway, it also goes into her son, who obviously is very hateful and spiteful towards her. And the vitriol that comes out of him was very shocking. So, him and his dad are pals. And then the last episode goes into a brand that winds up suing Lisa Frank and this drama behind that. I wasn't really interested in that. To be honest with you, this happens all the time with brands. They're constantly being sued. So, I mean, yeah, it was ugly, but I wasn't really interested. I was interested in the first 3 episodes. There's a lot going on here. I think it's worth a go if you love nostalgia and you love a good rise up story, because to me that's really what this was a woman taking a brand and creating something. but then having all these people complain and you know, running a business isn't easy. It's very, very difficult. And, you know, there weren't a lot of the same rules that we have today in place to protect employees back then in the 80s and 90s. And even in the early 2000s, there weren't a lot of the same issues that, and people talking about them. So I'm glad we are. We need to be doing that. But overall, it's a solid doc. Now, do I think that there needs to be a season 2? The only reason I would watch a season 2 is if they finally talk to Lisa Frank herself, and if they actually get her side of the story. This is very one-sided. This whole entire docuseries, it's not investigative journalism. It is one-sided. It is someone taking something and running with it. There is no investigativeness in any of this. No one's checking facts or anything like that. It's just people telling stories. Now, there is, she does release a statement, and the statement sums up her taking the high road. To me, that's what she wrote, is her taking the high road, which is she was proud of what was accomplished, and she thanks all the people that were a part of accomplishing what Lisa Frank was, and that she's looking for the future in what Lisa Frank can be. And so to me, that was, I'm hoping that she's moved on from it and learns a lot of valuable lessons, and that she can, you know, continue to thrive. You know, that would be my hope. 3 out of 5 stars, Amazon Prime.